What's going on, guys? Rdap Dan, Federal Prison Time Consulting. Hope you guys are all having a great middle of the week Wednesday. So yeah, we're going to be talking about First Step Act in today's video, but we'll give everybody a few minutes to join as we always do. I think right now we're about maybe 2 minutes early. So wait a few minutes. While we're waiting, we're going to talk about some other cool things that Dan Wise or Rdap Dan's got going on. But yeah, let's give everybody a couple seconds here to join us. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, like, share, all of that good stuff. And of course, you can follow us on social media and Facebook and Twitter and not OnlyFans. We don't have an OnlyFans account, guys. So no OnlyFans. Very weird. I had somebody send a message asking what our OnlyFans account was, and I thought it was a joke, but apparently they thought it was. What's going on, Kevin? No, didn't buy. A horrible time to buy, but we did move. We moved up to Melbourne, or down to Melbourne from Palm Beach. But thanks for keeping tabs. Kevin's been following us for quite a long time. So real quick, we got a few people joining here, and before we jump into the topic of the video, I had a really fun time last week. I was on a it was a podcast called FunkQuest. Really cool. I'm trying to remember the guy's name that hosts it. I can't think of his name, and I apologize to Mr. FunkQuest host. But it's this really cool channel. Let me share it over here with you guys so you can see it. So FunkQuest is this podcast where it's you against another person that's on there, like somebody else being interviewed at the same time. So it was me and this guy named Jason, and it's kind of a standoff, a little contest where you're asked random questions, and then based on how you answer the questions, you go through the whole podcast interview, and then they posted it, and there's voting that goes on until this Friday. So if you want to vote for Dan, there is a link in the description of the video. FunkQuest, and you should be able to see it in the chat as well, in the live chat. There's a link. Go click on that link, guys, and only vote for me if you think I won. But it was a lot of fun. Jason's pretty awesome. He's a life coach for kind of like for fathers. You know, how you can be a better father, a better man. He's probably, he probably should deserve to win, but and the winner gets to go on to like another round. It's not, there's no money or anything like that involved. It's just a lot of fun. So if you get a chance, go over there, take a look at it. I had a blast. And basically FunkQuest is you'll have random pictures, and when it's your turn, you pick a picture, and then based on that picture, you get asked a random question, and then you have to give your answer. And based on your answer is how they determine who's going to win. But it's up to you guys, the viewers, and you got to go to that link in order to do it. And I'll show it. It's still up here. So if that's the video, you can click on the video and watch that. And then when you go down to the bottom, and right over here, you fill out, enter your vote, Jason or Dan. So you just want to, hit the thumbs up for Dan. Yeah, I'm not sure who Dr. Carmichael is, but Dr. Carmichael's voting for Dan. All right. D is voting for Jason. All right. Dan's voting for Dan. So it looks like Dan's winning by 2 right now. So if you guys want to jump over there and help me out. But yeah, that's all. I just wanted to talk about that for a second. So thank you for hanging out there. I'm not sure who this person is, but hello to you. I don't want to butcher your name. We'll just call you a Como there, Cosmo, something to that effect. But thank you for joining. Today, guys, we're talking about First Step Act, risk assessment tool. How does it apply to you? How do you apply for it? How do you calculate all of these good things? And these are questions. Tom Root did a really good article on this. There's some more stuff coming down the pipeline that is going to be really good for individuals. So finally, we're seeing some benefits for many of you. But there's a link in the description of this video where and we'll show you so you can see this as well. Let's just go right here real quick. So I got this at it's urban.org or whatever. It's a website here that has an actual tool in here where you guys can go in here and use this. There's a link in the description. And if you want, I can just drop it in here as well. And what this does is it allows you to figure out where you fall and how to calculate first step, your credits, your FSA credits, your First Step Act credits, which can really determine how much time you're going to serve and how much time you can knock off your sentence. So you can shave quite a bit of time off of your sentence. And the tool's pretty basic. You just want to follow the blanks. So, you know, you're going to choose whether you're a man or woman, or if you're a loved one for a defendant that's in prison, you'll just choose man or woman. You go down, you'll answer some more questions. It's got the risk category here. This is where you need. So in order to qualify for First Step Act, in order to get the FSA credits, anybody can earn the credits, but not everybody can spend the credits, if that makes sense. So you have to be at a low risk factor. So your risk category, as you see over here, you've got minimum, low, medium, and high. You need to be at a low to be able to spend your earned time credits, where you can get up to a year off of your sentence. And then beyond that, you can get time off towards like probation or home confinement. So this between the FSA credits, RDAP, good time, halfway house, a sentence can get chopped up pretty good, you know. WTW. I'm still learning what all these terms mean. What does WTW mean? From Cali. Well, hello, Cali. WTW to you too. I hope WTW is a good thing. But yeah, guys, you got to use this calculator because it really helps kind of figure out. And if you're not sure how to determine or what to fill this out, we have a free consultation link in the description so we can help you with this. I'm not going to go too in depth on this because I kind of want you guys to hop in here and play with it. But there's some new stuff. They're going to start recalculating on, because part of the First Step Act on recidivism is they kind of try to guess what the chances, the likelihood of you becoming a bad boy or girl and going back to prison. And for minority individuals, minority being, you know, black, brown, non-white, basically, it's been a little unfair, a little biased to where if you're a black male or female, they were assuming that you were going to commit another crime versus like a white guy. So basically, like the black version of me would be more likely to go commit another crime based on the BOP's stats. So that's being recalculated, redone. So we should see some benefits here for our minority individuals out there, which is awesome that the BOP is taking initiative on that, but it's not done yet, but it is coming. So you're going to want to really keep an eye on this because it's going to help get your pattern score down, which the pattern score has a huge deal with on your First Step Act credits. If you've got some questions on First Step Act and FSA credits, we can answer those here if you want to ask. But you know, one of the things that we're working with some new clients right now we had a client that was kind of shooting himself in the foot because you can get 15 days off for every 30 days of successfully completing First Step Act credits, anything that's under the FSA program guide, which we can give you a link to that as well. If you need it, shoot a free consultation, email or a text over to us, which all my contact info is in the description of this video. But for example, let's say anger management is on the list, right? Taking anger management can give you earned time credits off of your sentence. So can RDAP or parenting class. So let's say you're doing anger management and parenting class. And let's say anger management is at 10 in the morning. And let's say parenting class is at, let's say 5 o'clock in the evening. And they're both on a Monday. Well, you're like, oh, great, I'm going to get credits for both of these classes. You credits can only be calculated for one day. So if you're taking 2 classes, you're only going to get credits for one of those. And once you finish that class, you might not necessarily be able to take it again, which means you just burned all of the time taking that class. So you want to kind of stagger these out. Take a class on a Monday, take another class on a Tuesday, take a class on a Wednesday. If 2 classes that you know you can take have qualifications for earned time credits, and they only happen to be on the same day, well, you'll do one. Then when you finish that class, whether it's, you know, a 30-hour class, a 40-hour class, whatever it might be, you'll wait until you completed that class and then enroll yourself for the other class so you're not kind of wasting your time on that. Rdap is really cool because you can double dip with Rdap. As many of you know, you can get up to a year off of your sentence for Rdap. And if you have questions about that, best thing to do is hop on over to federalprisontime.com, which is yours truly's website, Rdap Dan. We will share the screen so you can see real quick. If you come over to our website, and I want to say thank you to one of our viewers because we were having issues with the calendar, which we got fixed, by the way. So if you come over to our website, a couple of things you want to do. One, if you want to book yourself a free consultation, all you want to do is hit the little start here button. And by doing so, it'll bring you to a couple of basic questions, your name, address, things like that. If you don't want to give out your address, you can just put, 123 Main Street, whatever you want to put a fake address in there you want. But once you fill all this information out, we want to know your phase, if you're indicted, sentenced, whatever it might be, private attorney, court-appointed attorney, your time zone, good stuff like that. Once you've filled all that in, it'll pop up to pick a date for the calendar, and you'll schedule yourself a free consultation. Great. But if you've got some Rdap questions and you want to know some specifics about Rdap, because as you know, Rdap can give you whether it be 6 months off your sentence, 9 months off your sentence, a year off your sentence, or in some cases, no time off your sentence. There's a little tab at the top called Rdap FAQs. FAQ stands for frequently asked questions, for those of you that are wondering. And yes, I have had a cup of coffee this evening, if you can't tell. So you click on the questions there, and we've got your common questions. What is the program? Can the program benefit state prisoners? No. Answer is no on that. But the big one, if you go down to the bottom, how much time will I get off and who decides? So we'll cover that real quick because it is a common question, and then we'll tell you how this helps with First Step Act. If your sentence is 24 to 30 months, and really what this should say is when you enter into the program, if you have between 24 and 30 months, reason why I say that, if you're sentenced to 24 months and you get to prison, but it takes you 2 months to get in the program, you're no longer at 24 months and you can be disqualified, not have enough time to take the program, so you can't take it. So this 24 to 30 months is really based on how much time is remaining on your sentence when you enter into the program, just to be clear on that. So 24 to 30 months gets you 6 months off, 31 to 36 months, 9 months, and 37 plus can get you a year off, right? So let's say you get the full year, you get the year. Well, Rdap also qualifies under the FSA, First Step, your First Step Act credits, your FSA credits, earned time credits. So not only can you get a year off for Rdap, but if your sentence is long enough, you can also get a year of earned time credits in addition to your good time and in addition to some halfway house time. So technically, with Rdap, with everything in place, you can get a year for Rdap, you can get a year for the First Step Act, you can get how much time and good time depends on your sentence. So we'll say you could get up to a year of earned time if your sentence is long enough, and then you can get up to a year of halfway house. So you're talking potentially between, in crazy scenarios, 4 years off of a sentence. That can really knock some time off your sentence. So make sure you're paying. And the problem is that everyone's like, oh, why didn't my attorney tell me this? Because it's not your attorney's job. It should be your attorney's job. Not defending your attorney, but unfortunately, common law practice, which it's similar to like slaughterhouses, when we talk about like animal rights and how you can't go around shooting, doing things that are unethical or painful to animals. In the common law farming world, there's levels of torture that it's so commonly practiced that you're allowed to do it. They're basically torturing animals, and it's okay because it's for farm and produce and shit like that, right? So same thing. You have attorneys. The average attorney doesn't really focus on your narratives, your reference letters, things of this nature. You may never even hear that term until like 3 days before you get sentenced, and your attorney, hey, don't forget, Bob, we need some letters from friends and family ASAP. And then you have these horrible letters that are turned over. You don't really know what you're doing. You're scatterbrained, and it doesn't do you any good, right? Well, same thing when it comes to Rdap. Attorneys don't know anything about Rdap. Some of them do. Don't get me wrong. Some do, but most don't. They know about the program. They don't know the ins and outs of it. A lot of times we get some bogus misinfo fired off from attorneys when it comes to when you got gun situations. As most of you know, if you have a gun charge, you can't take Rdap. But some of you had a gun charge and the charge got dropped, but they still used it in the guidelines, what's called a 2-level enhancement for the gun charge. But you weren't charged with the gun, but you still got the enhancement for sentencing purposes. Well, just the enhancement alone shoots you in the foot. Attorneys will tell you, they dropped the gun charge, you can now take Rdap. wrong. Now you can take RDAP, but you don't get the time off. So you want to make sure you're dealing with some sort of an expert. And I am a self-proclaimed expert. I'm not going to lie. I have given myself the best degree possible. I have awarded myself with a master's PhD in prison politic, in everything about prison. I am self-certified. Yes, you got to have fun with this, guys. As you can see, prison doesn't have to ruin your life. I just spoke to a young dude today who is going through it. He was, dealing with the whole thing with what went on with back in January, a couple of years back, with the whole over there at the Capitol. You guys remember the whole Jenna Ryan fiasco. He was part of that. Very, very minor role in the whole situation. And he's getting hammered. At least the stuff that they're throwing at him, it just makes him look like this really hard, but really nice guy dealing with it. He's got an awesome family that's supporting him, and tons of questions. Attorneys giving him some misfiring information too, and got him confused with other clients. And the reason why I bring this up is because so many of you think that you're in this like unique situation where when your attorney gives you bad info, or you call your attorney with questions and you hang up with more questions and answers, you feel like, I just got this really bad attorney. Unfortunately, it's pretty common to have that struggle where there's kind of this lack of good communication. Your attorney's rushing you off the phone, they're busy. And the reality is they deal with so many people, and there are a lot of really, I'm not going to use the word dumb questions, but there are a lot of questions that individuals have where they get stuck on things like illegal search and seizure. Or illegal search and seizure. They didn't have a right to search my house. And maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but you're in the shit now. You're into it deep. Being accountable, taking accountability for what you put yourself through. If you're going to be taking a plea deal, there's no tiptoeing around that one. You can't put one toe in, one toe out. You don't want to wait to see what happens to everybody else before you take a plea deal. In the feds, almost everybody takes a plea. And I'm not telling anybody they should plea if they're innocent, or if they're, if they're dead set that this is wrong information, they're going to go to trial. It's your right to do so, and you exhaust and exercise your rights as should be, but beware of what those consequences might carry, which brings around to the full circle of why most people take a plea deal. So if you're dabbling in the plea area and you're likely going to be taking a plea deal, you want to try to get on that sooner than later, because it really will help with sentencing mitigation tactics. The more time, especially if you're working with us and our team, and our team is pretty bad. We're up there, guys. We have, it's myself, Shelly, Tom Root. We have some amazing writers. We have chemical dependency professionals where if we need reports written up so we can do legal research, if we need to get in Pacer and pull all of your documents up there, we have a free consultation, as you guys know, but sometimes the consultations, there could be a little fee of around $295, $300. That's because sometimes we got to get into Pacer and pull a bunch of documents up and do some research for you. And you get all those documents. And then the beautiful thing is, if you do decide to move forward with us, that consultation fee for those documents, that fee gets applied to whatever the cost might be. So it's not like you're going to be paying that in addition. So you want to really take advantage of knowing your situation, and when you put all of your faith on somebody else, like your attorney, or even if you put all of your faith on, your prison consultant, Rdap Dan, you really do have to be a part of the process. You've got to be engaged. You got to ask questions. Part of our promise to you is attorney accountability as well. Not that your attorney is not doing the right thing, but you want to know that he's doing the right thing. So we help you with questions for your attorney, making sure that documents are being done right. Things like, your sentencing memo is not being done at the last minute. And there's no way you even know of these things if you're not aware to ask your attorney about these things. And sometimes the lack of knowing comes back to get you later on when you're sitting in prison wondering, what could I have done different? You don't want to have that thought later on, because it's a thought that will eat you alive. Just like the thought right now, like, man, I wish I didn't do what I did. I wish I didn't, make this little minor mistake, or I wish I stayed home this day, or I wish I missed the call, or whatever it is. You can't undo where you're at, but you can mitigate where you're at. You guys got sentencing guidelines. Some of you have minimum mandatories, and those guideline ranges on advisory guidelines, those are advisory. Those are not something the judge has to stick to. It's based on your offense level. It's based on your criminal history. Your age plays a factor. the type of crime can play a factor in your level of your custody level, whether you're going to go to a minimum, which is like a camp, or a low, which, the gentleman I spoke to today, he might go to a low. And, he had some fear of a low in his mind. He thought maybe that was like a medium. And no, 99% of my clients, or I would say the majority of them, go to a camp. Few of them go to a low. We have had clients go to mediums and penitentiaries, but it's not typical. Most of the people I deal with are first-time nonviolent offenders, white-collar types of individuals. But that doesn't negate how fearful you are. And it's not so much that you're afraid to go to prison. It's the unknown, the uncertainty, the sleepless nights, the anxiety, the dealing with your family. And some of you have kids and you got to deal with your parents, and people are trying to help you and you feel helpless. And your family feels useless because there's nothing they can do to make it go away. It's like you're going through this process of like death almost, where it's like, God, just let it be over for everybody's sake. My father's dying of cancer. There's nothing that can be done. He's on life support. It's horrible to watch. You don't wish anything bad on anybody. But man, when someone's suffering and going through something like this, you want to get to the end of it so the suffering can stop and you can start the healing process. And anybody that I've spoken to on the phone, I've said the same thing to every single person. The worst part about what you're dealing with right now is what you're currently going through. This is by far going to be the hardest thing, the pretrial phase, whether you're on home confinement, on ankle monitor, whether you're not on an ankle monitor, just knowing there's this daunting gray cloud that probably carries a prison sentence of a range of what to what you don't know. And human beings don't do well in the level of uncertainty. We like to know things. We like to have control. And this is all about giving up control. And you're going into this chaotic world where reality doesn't really play a huge role. Like the reality of the regular world are right is right, wrong is wrong. If you make a mistake, no big deal. But when you hit the feds, so many of you, you probably don't really deserve to go to prison, but the reality is you're probably going to go to prison. And that's a hard mind adjustment to say, man, I know what I did was kind of, maybe a mistake or dumb or whatever, but do I really deserve to go to prison? And then friends and family, we're all told, oh, they're going to see you're not a bad person. They don't send people to you to prison. You didn't murder anybody. You didn't rape anybody. And those things are comforting thoughts, but the comforting thought doesn't do you any good, guys, because the reality is the judge sees people like us every single day that come in front of him. And we all say the same story and we all end up going to prison. And the judge just, he goes right down, checklist, guideline range. If you're taking a plea deal, it's probably the low end. You might get some acceptance of responsibility. You get a couple levels off. But in the judge's mind, you're doing the acceptance of responsibility just to get a better sentence. So, creating a game plan and a roadmap of success working with us, we want to develop a pattern for you where once you get to sentencing, and hopefully you're not getting sentenced tomorrow, there's not much we can do. But for those of you that have months in front of you, which most of you do, there's so much that can be done to show the judge something that they're not used to seeing and making him kind of raise his eyebrow and say, okay, I know you don't want to go to prison and I know you're taking acceptance of responsibility, but my God, the things that you're doing right now are on a huge course of change, creating new habits. And that's where you can make some huge headway with the sentencing court. And maybe in some cases, even the prosecutor, in most cases, the prosecutor is going to paint you like you're Satan, no matter what. So you're better off kind of beating them to the punch on that and throwing yourself, taking your accountability to the level where you're not making excuses for what you did. You're not just saying you're a good person that made a mistake. You're showing the judge that you understand the consequences of your actions and you understand what you would do different. And you understand that by creating new habits, and maybe some of you have a substance abuse problem that can be identified, and really taking control of all this, it has a huge benefit versus the average person that judge is going to see. And you might hire us with the intent of, I'm going to do all these things to look better in front of the judge because I want a shorter sentence. And that's fine. That's fine. If that's your motive right now, if those are your intentions, great. You don't need to be a saint today. But will probably likely happen is when you start doing these things, your intentions now change. We've all heard the term, right? The pathway to hell is paved with good intentions. Now, the pathway to a good sentence could be paved with bad intentions. Your bad intentions are just to get a shorter sentence. But what happens is you start seeing the benefits of going through the process of what we put you through, and the speaking engagements and the letters and talking to you and your family. And before you know it, you really do start to think a little differently, and you start to realize that you're probably in this situation for a reason. You're not a bad person, but maybe you had it was normal for you to make seemingly unimportant decisions and not really think it through to the end and really focus on what consequences are. Once we start paying more attention to consequences, and when we're asked to do something, when we're asked to say, hey, let's go down to the Capitol and hold signs and let's go fight for our rights. The minute if we start to think, what could happen if I went there and a fight broke out you could get hurt. You could accidentally hurt somebody else in the rage that you're going through and everything that's going on. We're super hot temperatures right now. And I use the Capitol because I've had so many clients engaged in the Capitol. And then you've got people like Jenna Ryan, who she shouldn't have gone to prison if she just would have shut her mouth and took her little misdemeanor and left it, but she wanted to go on social media and she wanted to be a big shot. She created a train wreck spectacle that everybody stopped to look at. She put a spotlight on it by talking about her white blonde privilege, her and her good job. And it really did put a spotlight on that whole situation and made all of you that went through this process. Anybody I've spoken to that's part of that, it's almost like they don't want to say it out loud because it's like, oh, you were at the Capitol, you're one of those crazy people. No, chances are you weren't crazy. You had a day where maybe you let loose a little bit and it got out of hand, sure. But if you look back and say, what would I have done different? You probably would have said, you know what? I'm going to sit at home that day and I'm going to scream at the TV, or I'm going to go on Facebook, or I'm going to write a letter to my senator. And you wouldn't be in the situation you're in right now. So if any of you that are in a hot situation, if you can honestly take a look and think back and think what you would do differently, if there's anything you would have done differently, then you're on the right mindset. Don't let yourself get stuck on, they're coming at me too hard, this isn't fair, this isn't what happened, because you're going to get stuck in an anger situation where you're going to be stuck in this void of negativity on basically victim mentality. And I'm not saying it's fair, but it's the reality. It is what it is. It's not going to do you any good to stay stuck and stay angry, because it's not allowing you to be productive and do something tomorrow that's going to put your situation in a possibility to receive the best possible outcome. And that's the mindset training that we do with you, creating the outreach. Everything we do has a purpose. Part of it, yes, to get you the best sentence possible, but also part of it so that when you do get sentenced, no matter what it is, you're going to be satisfied with it because you're going to know you did what you could possibly do. And it starts with making a change. And whatever your reason is for that change, I don't care. Walk through the doors, and the process eventually will take hold of you if you allow the process to work for you. So that's the rant on that. First Step Act, guys, has been amazing. It has been amazing in so many ways. It's compassionate release has been helped out with this. We've seen so many people. Look, the only thing that COVID has done good is sent people home from prison. That's the only benefit to COVID. I'm not COVID, I'm a Florida guy, so I'm glad I live in Florida. DeSantis didn't want to shut down our government like a lot of other, our state, like a lot of other states, are still kind of like freaking out a little bit. It makes things way harder, to go out about a normal life. And, I don't care what your views are of COVID, but it's pretty much destroyed the economy and crushed everything except prison. Prison had sent a lot of people home. So if you went to prison during COVID, it might have possibly benefited you. First Step Act, some other things that it did for those of you that are going to have some, let's say you have some issues to raise once you're in prison for like compassionate release. One of the things the First Step Act did when it comes to compassionate release is, prior to the First Step Act, if you wanted to file for compassionate release, you had to do it through the BOP just like you do now. The difference is if the BOP denied you, you were dead. You had to like fight it at the BOP level. First Step Act, now what has happened, because the BOP basically was telling everybody to go F themselves and wasn't giving compassionate release to anybody unless you were like stage 300 on your deathbed cancer. They weren't sending anybody home. They were just basically denying everybody. First Step Act, what it does now is, as long as you still have to request it through the BOP, if they deny you or don't respond within 30 days, you can now motion it back to the court instead of the BOP, which has been a game changer. And with so many of our clients, just us alone, have helped so many people get out. I can't imagine the totality of other consultants and attorneys doing these things. It has sent home thousands of people that never would have gotten home if it wasn't for the First Step Act. So the First Step Act has done that. It updated the good time credits. It's got the earned time credits in there now. It's finally seeing prison reform going in a decent direction. We've got Republican presidents and Democratic presidents doing pardons, sending people home for like nonviolent or lifers for drugs, where if they were to get sentenced today, it would be for a much lesser of a sentence. So the disparity there is just so drastic. And it's not just rich white people that are getting these things now. You know, everybody makes a big deal when it's like, oh, Trump pardoned his buddy. He also pardoned a lot of other people that were not his buddy, and people that you would say he would never pardon because of our political views. So needless to say, who cares what his reason was, right? The intentions, we already discussed that earlier, don't really matter. It's the end result of what happens and what comes out in those ingredients. DeSantis for president. Kevin might be onto something there, Kevin. You might, oh shit, I've been leaving it on me the whole time. Sorry, guys. You guys are stuck looking at my website. There's my beautiful face. Charles Smith is asking, any January 6ers here? See, I'm just reading some messages here. We got Callie. If you're on pretrial release, it is unlikely to be sent anywhere higher than a low, or is it all situational based? If you're on pretrial release, I mean, it really, without knowing what your charges are, because I've had guys on pretrial release that end up going to a penitentiary. But if you're a first time offender, it's based on your custody level. So you have your offense level, which let me pull up a chart here, guys. I haven't been here in a while, so I'll take some time with you guys. I was just on it a few minutes ago with there we go. We'll look at this chart right here. So here's what the offense level chart looks like. Okay. So let's go over here and share this. And let me make it a little bit bigger here so everybody can see it. All right. So this is I don't know if, let me get rid of this. So this chart over here, that's on the right, all you have to do is go on Google and type in federal sentencing guidelines chart, and you'll pull up a million of them. They're all pretty much the same. You've got your offense level on the far left, 1 through whatever it is, 43. You got zone A, B, C, and D. So your offense level is going to be based on like your crime, money loss, drug quantities, things like that. If you've got prior convictions within a certain amount of time, it could bump you from a category. And if you look, so the far left, you got offense level, and then across the top, you've got criminal history category. So based on like your priors and things of that nature, it can change you from category 1, 2 through 3. So let's say like the individual I was talking to earlier, we believe is a zone D offense level of a 22, which carries 41 to 51 months. That's on with no criminal history. If he had some criminal history, he could be looking at 46 to 57. If his criminal history is more severe, it could be 51 to 63. So as you see, it really goes based on kind of your past comes into a big play there. I know, what do we got here, Callie? I know my offense level is a 27, but no, you should know your custody level now. You'll know that before sentencing. Your attorney should be able to tell you. And if you know what your priors are, have you done your pre-sentence interview yet, Callie? If you have your pre-sentence interview done and you've actually gotten your pre-sentence report, that will show you what your offense level is. It will also show you what your custody level is, and it should show you what is being recommended by U.S. probation. And I'd be happy to do a consultation with you. There's a link in the description of this video. There's 2 links in the description. One of them is a free consultation. The other one, if it's for an Rdap consultation, because we got to pull up some documents, there's a fee associated to that one. I forgot what it is, probably a couple $100. But Callie, book yourself a consultation, and then you'll know if you've got criminal history or not. And so they either go back 10 years or 15 years. If you were incarcerated, even if it was for a day, they'll go back 15 years. If you were not incarcerated and you served no jail time on any of your priors, they only go back 10 years. There might be a couple, stipulations to that, but the best thing to do is have a free consultation. Why do we do free consultations? Because some of you end up hiring us. So it is a lead tool to get somebody to pay us. I'm not going to lie. Of course, we want you to hire us, but not everybody needs our service. So I can't just say hire us and we'll find out if you need us then. So I'd rather spend, 20, 30 minutes on the phone doing a consultation, and you might need us down the road. But everybody tries to pretend like how righteous they are. I'm in business just like everybody else is, but I just happen to get to do something that I love to do. And if I won the lottery or I didn't need money, I would still do this for free because it's very fulfilling. My mistakes that I made through life that put me in prison kind of really altered my sense of who I was. And I thought prison was going to destroy me. And it absolutely redefined and recreated me and allows me to be, I'm still cocky. That's never going to go away. I'm still who I am, but I focus on consequences now. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. And I love to talk to people on the phone. So it's, it's kind of a win-win. I get to be a prison consultant for a living. I get to talk to some amazing people. I get to help people. I've heard some of the most horrible stories. I've had some of the most heartwarming emails sent to me. I get people send me cool little things and thank yous. It's a very rewarding a job to be able to have found, because prior to this whole thing, I wasn't a very good person. There's people that knew me from my past, and I was that guy that had good intentions but bad follow through, and I've learned that that's got me nowhere. Taking the elevator when you could take the stairs to kind of go through take the stairs, not the elevator, guys. There's no shortcuts. That's the point there. Put in the work. But Callie, book yourself a consultation. That's really all I got. I just wanted to come on here and share some information with you guys. If you're just joining us, there's a risk assessment tool. I'll copy it one more time, drop it in here. Here's the link. And this isn't my website. I get no benefit from this. This is somebody else that put this information out there. It's just good information. The risk assessment tool, you can go in and you can put all your information in there. And you can find out where your risk pattern needs to be at a low or better to get the earned time credits, to be able to spend them. We had a guy that called us and he's like, man, I've got all these earned time credits. How come my release date hasn't changed? And when we did his risk score pattern, when we checked out his pattern score, he's at a medium. He's at a medium score pattern, which doesn't allow you to spend the credits until you get to a low. But as soon as he gets to low, all those points are sitting there in the bank. He's got money in the bank, guys and ladies. So he'll be able to spend it. And we help create game plans on what you can do to maximize getting yourself to a lower risk pattern score as well. So let us do the heavy lifting. Also, please, if you didn't do so, hop over and vote for me right here. Right here. Come vote for Dan. Not for president or anything, just, for FunkQuest. I had fun. It is not prison related at all. Well, I make everything prison related. So when he asked me questions about certain things, I related it to prison. I think he asked me what my favorite view and scenery was. And it was when I used to walk the prison yard. And I used to say, when you're walking the yard in prison, you got your headphones on, you're staring out at the sky, you kind of feel like you're free. So yeah, so hop on over here before you guys take off. You scroll down to the bottom. You can watch the video, which would be cool. See if anybody voted for me since here. None of you have come in here and vote yet. Guys, I need you to vote for me. I need to win this. I want to win. I'm in a winning mood. I'm a winner no matter what. When I lose, I win. Last thing. Oh yeah. Our Facebook page for family members. Oh, Charles, Boom, $2. Oh, those of you that don't know, when you send donations like how Charles did, Charles just sent a $2 donation, which doesn't sound like a lot, but let me tell you something. All donations we receive, we don't spend any. Well, we do. We spend it all, but not on anything like beer and wine. We spend it on much cooler things than that. We spend it on individuals that reach out to us from in prison that are financially destitute. They can't afford hygiene products. And some of these people live in really cold states where they need some winter clothes and some sweaters and some cups of soup and a cup of coffee, or they need some money to go gamble. I don't know. All this money that we get every month, we donate it. We have a list of different people that are that reach out to us through another group that we have, which I don't want to put on there right now because we don't want people scamming it. But we have a group that we do that we give donations to, and we give tons of money of our own as well. But any money that you guys send over to us, whether there's a link in the description of the video, if you want to do it that way, there's a PayPal link. You can send it through PayPal. You can send it through the donation button on here. So thank you very much, Sir Charles Smith. Sounds like a stage name. My name's Charles Smith. Sure it is. But I really believe that is a Charles Smith in the room today. But yeah, so thank you for the donation, my man. It's awesome. Every little penny helps. That $2 can buy probably like 5 soups for somebody. And, you know, I remember being in the dorm, the unit I was in at Coleman. So I was at Coleman Federal Prison at the low security over in by Ocala, Florida. And I was very fortunate that I had money on my books every week. So I was able to buy commissary. But I'll tell you what, when the unit starts cooking, the microwaves are going, you can smell the soups and the burritos and the pizzas and the cakes that people are making in the unit. The whole unit smells so good. It's like walking into a bakery or a restaurant and it's just, what's for dinner? It smells so fantastic. But when you're broke and you don't have any money on commissary, you're starving, your stomach is turning, and you're just praying that somebody gives you like, hey man, you want a soup? You know, people would. I would give commissary away sometimes to people. You don't want to do it too much because then you create the stray cat method. The stray cats are the ones, when you get the cats that come up and you give a cat a little water and milk on your patio, and then tomorrow the cat's back, but he might have brought some cat friends. Before you know it, you got like a swarm of cats on your patio and you're giving cats all the milk and you're like, man, I got no milk for myself now. So you can't be that guy that's giving it all away for free. But I used to feel very, very bad for the individuals in there that didn't have any family support or no money, and they had to rely on their prison job. And let me tell you something, you don't make a lot in prison. My job, I think, paid like $14 a month. Woo! Don't spend it all in one place, Rdap Dan. And then you might have some financial responsibilities, FRP, where you have like restitution and you owe money. You get your $14 and you're like, all right, I can buy like, you know, some toilet paper. And oh yeah, by the way, we got to take $10 of that because you owe like $10 million in restitution that you're never going to be able to pay off. So it leaves you at $5. Yeah. So Rdap Dan and his team and all of you awesome folk out there that are watching and rocking with us, when you send in those donations, and we collect probably somewhere around $500 in donations a month from you guys. And we have some other areas of people that donate, and we've got some sponsors that donate, and we donate. So we spend a couple $1,000s a month between what we spend, what you guys give us, and others' donations to help those that don't have. And it's awesome. It's Rdap Dan, Federal Prison Time Consulting, people up and people community as method. That is our motto, and we stick to it. So I am not having any more coffee tonight. I feel like I'm buzzing. But I'm buzzing on life because I love sitting here talking to you guys. So thank you again for the donations, guys. If you have any questions, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our channel. If you have a loved one that's in prison right now, or you're getting ready to go yourself, there's a link in the description. You can join our Facebook group. It's a private group. It says white collar prison wives support group, but you don't have to be white collar, and you don't have to be a wife of somebody going in. You can be a mother, a father, a son. It can be for yourself. Maybe you just got out and you want to be a part of the support group. There's really only one rule in this support group, guys. And the rule is there's plenty of other prison support groups out there that are built for venting, going, oh my God, I can't believe they're on lockdown again. The prison is so bad and the food is so bad and my loved one never gets to use the phone. We can bitch and complain all day long. It's not going to change anything. So the only real rule in this group is keep it positive, because no matter what happened in your day today, your day yesterday, or your day tomorrow, no matter what shitty thing happened to you, I promise you, you can find something positive. If you look hard enough, you can find the silver lining in the worst of scenarios. So this group gives an outlet for, like, let's say a mother of a son that might be going into prison. The mother may not have a whole lot of people she can talk to that understand what she's going through. Or maybe she's embarrassed and ashamed. She doesn't want to tell anybody, but she also doesn't know how to process. Well, getting into this group, you don't even have to communicate with anybody. You can just read, and you're probably going to come across somebody that has been in a similar situation to you that will talk about what they did to get through it. So that community environment, people helping people, communities method motto that we hold so dearly, gives you the ability to realize that this isn't the end of the world, guys. I'm not going to blow up. I'm not going to die. I'm not going to come out and be, a pariah in life. Even sex offenders that go into prison and come out of prison can reform themselves. And I know everybody's got their view on sex offenders because it's an easy crime to beat up on and it's easy to hate them. It makes you feel better about your own crime. But man, it's not easy for anybody. Addiction sucks in any shape, way, or form. So we try to give everybody an ability to have a safe place to communicate, to be around others that are in a similar situation without being judged. It's kind of like Planet Fitness, the judgment-free zone. Don't drop the weight because the alarm will go off. But yeah, that's all I got. If you want to join the group, there's a link in the video. I will drop it right here for you guys also because I'm awesome like that. Boom. Magic. There it is. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's content. If you did, please leave a message. Rdap Dan, Federal Prison Time Consultant, people helping people, communities method, one day at a time. I'll probably be back in 2 days, like I always say, which means like 2 weeks. But I love you guys. Thank you for supporting me. We hit 10,000 subscribers 2 weeks ago. So we're growing, and it's all thanks to you. If you need me, come find me. I'm out of here. Peace, everybody.